There's different methods of avoiding pests, but I use a Scout for all of mine, and we only spray till the thresholds are met. To me, that's one of the most important. Most any seed that you buy, it costs so much now, it's going to be treated with all the treatments. But the main thing is that you scout and you know what you're spraying for, and know when you spray when you need to, not just on a schedule. And that's the main part. Chemicals cost too much to waste them, so you want to use them whenever you have a pest there. In other words, and just use them then and then only. Oh, that's well, just for one year. I know years ago back when we even plowed and cultivated, we had common Bermuda grass was a bad weed pest, and if you got it on your subsoiler feed or your plow sweeps or anything, I mean, you definitely wanted to stop and clean them off when you left one field to the next, because if you took it to that field, you could just replant it. That's all you're doing. Same way especially with harvest equipment. If you do have some bad weeds by that time of the year, it can get over your equipment, so you want to blow it off and just taking all precautions not to spread any type of pest from one place to another.
Is that common?
I think it's pretty common practice for. I mean, everybody kind of knows, you're fighting these weeds, so let's don't take them. It may be times when you're with harvest equipment, you're going from field to field, and you might run through one and not be close enough to go back to the shop just to blow it off. But I mean, in general speaking, I think most farmers, that would be common. I would like to see the farmers try to manage the residue better and not. I think a lot of the strip till that's been done in the past was basically a time savings and not really related to, not really thinking of doing it because of soil quality. A lot of the strip till that's done, they till a wide strip. I would like to see more residue maintained on the surface after planting. I'd like to see more of the farmers try to go to more of some no-till in order to increase the residue that's on the surface. We've came a long way, but we do still have a ways to go with getting residue. Cover crops, I think, is something that still needs to be more. People need to do more of that on the farm to see if it benefits them or not. I think I can see some benefits in some cover crops, but it's kind of hard to sell in some situations, because I don't know how much dollar value you're actually getting out of it. It's costing you to do it, but I don't know how much return you're getting. And it's hard to sell something, hard to get somebody to spend money when you can't show them that they're going to make any money. So that's some of the main things I'd like to see. I remember one, I was from right there and lived right on Highway 302, and that was in the sand hills. And I remember as a boy, several times growing up, it was about a 30-acre field right beside our house. And back then, the land was plowed and bottom plowed. We used to bottom plow everything. I mean, it was just when I was a little boy. And I can remember in March and the winds coming, blowing the dust across the highway that was right there in front of our house, and people would turn on their lights and be coming through the dust that was coming off of the fields. It was just sand. It was unreal, and I can remember seeing that. It was like it was a dust storm. I mean, but it was all coming off of that 30-acre field, and when it would be plowed up. And that's one thing, and that I do remember. And I remember hearing my dad talking about. I mean, if you had corn coming up when that sand land up there with the wind blowing like that, it would cut it off. I mean, it would actually cut the plants off if you had a windstorm like that. But back then everything was bottom plowed, so it was really clean tilled. So I do remember seeing the dust going across the field and by my house back when I was a child. If your crop's up, and it was always bad on corn and even cotton, the wind would actually with the sand would cut the crop off. If it was a young crop just emerged, up to couple weeks old, it would cut them completely off. The wind would cut the crop completely off.
And is that partly because there was soil in that wind?
Exactly. It was the sand, the wind that's moving the sand just rolling across the top of the ground, and the sand particles are sharp, I would guess, and it cut the plants off.